In a quiet Buddhist monastery, the sun filtered through the mottled leaves and cast patches of light and shadow on the ground. A believer, his face filled with confusion, approached the highly respected Zen master with trepidation to seek advice on the puzzle. Weighing on his mind, the believer said, his face contorted with distress, "Master, I'm deeply troubled. I'm already a married man, but for some reason, I've fallen head over heels in love with another woman. I'm completely lost and have no idea what to do." The Zen master slightly narrowed his eyes and asked gently, with a calm gaze, "Are you certain that the woman you're deeply in love with now will be the last woman you'll ever love in your life?" Without a moment's hesitation, the believer replied firmly, "Yes, I'm certain." The Zen master didn't respond immediately. Instead, he pointed to the 3 candles burning quietly in the incense burner in front of him and asked, "Softly, look at these 3 candles. Which one is the brightest?" The believer stared at the candles, examining them closely for a long time. Then, he shook his head helplessly and said, "I really can't tell. To me, they all seem to be equally bright." The Zen master sighed softly and said slowly, "These 3 candles are like 3 women in this world. One of them represents the woman you're deeply in love with now. In this vast world, there are countless women. If you can't even determine which of these 3 candles in front of you is the brightest, or even find the one you think you love the most at this moment, how can you be so sure that she's the last woman in your life?" After hearing this, the believer fell into a deep silence, a thoughtful look on his face. After a moment, the Zen master spoke again. "Now, choose 1 candle at random. Hold it in front of your eyes and feel it with your heart. See which one is the brightest." The believer followed the instructions. After a while, he replied, "Of course, the one right in front of me is the brightest." The Zen master smiled slightly and continued, "Put it back in its original place. Now, look again. Which one is the brightest?" The believer observed carefully once more and said helplessly, "I really still can't tell which one is the brightest." At this point, the Zen master's expression grew solemn, and he said earnestly, "In fact, the candle you held in front of your eyes just now is like the woman you thought would be the last one you'll love. Love comes from the heart when you pour your whole heart into loving her. When you gaze at her intently, you'll feel that she's extremely dazzling and is the brightest one. But when you put everything back to how it was, you can no longer find that feeling that she's the most outstanding and dazzling. This so-called last and only love of yours is just as illusory as a flower in the mirror, or the moon in the water. In the end, it will all be in vain." After hearing the Zen master's words, the believer was suddenly enlightened, and the fog in his heart gradually dissipated. He finally understood that people are always prone to getting lost in desires and fantasies, while overlooking the real beauty around them. True love often lies right in front of us, in those ordinary yet precious daily moments that we take for granted in life. We often resemble this believer. We always think there are more beautiful sceneries in the distance, forgetting to cherish what we have now and neglecting to love the person who has been by our side all along. In fact, plainness is the essence of life. Seize the present and cherish the person in front of you. That's the true meaning of life.